Use common words. This manual attempts to bring logic to the American accent. As much logic as one can bring to something involving a language thrown together for thousands of years, and an accent that sprung from the collision of various cultures on a previously undiscovered continent. Many Russians have expressed to me how overwhelming a task it seems to learn the designated syllable stress of every single English word. The very thought of such a monumental chore is enough to make one shudder. So may I suggest mastering a dozen or so words you use on a daily basis? A number of frequently used words should be employed to establish an American accent. By descending in pitch on emphasized syllables, the speaker presents the rhythm required to communicate with Americans. Only. Whatever. Today. There's nothing better than a shower head that changes color based on temperature. It almost seemed terrible that she would never know this hilarious fact. I didn't know anything about it. She talks sports, and we all just listen. Like many old soldiers, he wears white socks. I miss being a complete foreigner and having no ties to anyone. Kids take your money and wreck your house. From the very beginning, Los Angeles was all about the automobile. Unlike so many people around me, I know who I am. The best words I ever said are the words that never left my mouth. After a few days, I figured out what he really meant. You are allowed to be happy. I understand anything and everything about vodka. Tomorrow is another day. I forgot to tell you something important. Taking command. Americans tend to descend in pitch on stressed syllables, and they tend to stress certain verbs when giving instructions and offering suggestions. The use of the imperative tense triggers the stressed syllable to descend in pitch. Call, go, watch, sleep. Give up defining yourself by what happened in the past. Avoid changing from the original plan. Pull up a stool in the kitchen. Pick a profession that you think you'll enjoy. Shut up and leave me alone. Wrap up the project today. Whisper in the baby's ear. Give them a 15-minute warning to finish whatever they are doing. Even when a request doesn't directly employ the imperative tense, the speaker of American English creates downward inflections on stressed syllables. I hope that you're settling in and have made some friends. I would advise you not to disclose your intense feelings. Avoid scratching the initial H. Russian speakers tend to add a distracting, throaty sound to their H. It's not only Russians. Most of the world's languages use a scratch in the throat to help articulate a foreign relative of the letter H. When Americans pronounce an H, they do so with an open throat, one free of obstruction. Home, hungry, high, hobo, whole, happening. The sun was behind him now, the car chasing its own shadow. Resurrection is a common theme in horror. All efforts to extinguish the fire have ended in failure. He loved how his hands felt when he hit the baseball. To illustrate the difference, a Russian might butcher that last H-laden sentence. He loved how his hands felt when he hit baseball. In this stereotypical example, the letter H scratches on numerous words, creating a sentence that an American would have a hard time understanding. The American H uses the least amount of breath necessary. He loved how his hands felt when he hit the baseball. The entire year ahead was completely mapped out. It has only been in the past 100 years that human beings have begun to review their childhoods. It was good to hear that perspective. Maintain healthy boundaries in hostile places. We worked out the details as we wandered the dirt roads near my home, my daughter happily walking between us. I didn't have to look hard to find them. As soon as Henry knew he had the job, he began brainstorming ideas.